Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to set up files for our press and go bulk printing service. So we're opening Photoshop. We're going to open a new file by creating a new one. We're going to make sure that we're setting it to 44 inches wide because that's what our roll paper is set to, by however many feet in inches we want. So we're going to do 3 feet at 300 DPI. Make sure it's in RGB color, 8-bit. The background we'd prefer is white, otherwise we end up using a lot of ink. And most importantly, make sure it's in RGB 1998. So now we have our canvas, of which we're going to put our pre-sized files onto. So we're going to open up our files into Photoshop to get them set up for adding to our canvas and making sure that they are all formatted properly and set to the correct size that we want them to end up being when we print them. So we have Barney here on this lovely bench. We're going to make sure, we know that we want to make a 16 by 20 image of Mr. Barney here. So we are going to crop that. We're going to make sure that the layer is editable. And we're going to make sure it's 16 by 20 and 300 DPI. Otherwise, it's going to show up really small on the canvas that we set up for 300 DPI. So make sure to save all of your images. It's a bit of a waiting process if you have an older computer. Okay, so there's Barney as a 16 by 20 image. We also want to make sure that we add a little bit of a border to allow for easier framing and cutting space if you need later. So we're going to add a 1/2 inch to either side. So we're going to do 21 by 17. Oops. Darn. 21 by 17, there we go. So that would allow a 1/2 inch on all the way around the image. So we can see that we actually have a transparent background here. So we want to flatten the image by right-clicking, scrolling down, and flattening the image. And that gives us that little white border all the way around Barney. Okay, so we're going to go up here, make sure that we have it in RGB colors and 8-bit channel. And then lastly, we want to double check that Barney is in the right color profile. So we have, yep, he's in Adobe 1998, which is what we want. So press OK. We're going to make sure to save Barney. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that same process for all of our other files. So making sure that we have them to size, adding that little border, ensuring that it's at 300 DPI, etc., etc. So we're going to go ahead and find all of our, once we've done all of that, we're going to grab all of our saved formatted files and drop them onto our canvas. One by one, there's Barney. There's our camera. You can see in the little preview there that we have added that 1/2 inch border. And you can add the border to your preference. If you prefer to have a 1-inch border, 2-inch border, whatever, just make sure that you understand that it will be printed within this 44-inch wide by however tall you choose canvas. So here we go. We've got them all here. And I like to keep them centered in the page just in case. So what we're going to do here is rasterize each layer because we want to add a stroke line to each one of our images to help with cutting them out of the long roll of paper that you'll receive once we've printed them. So we're going to try adding one to Barney. And you can change the width, the color, whatever you want for the stroke line. So I'm going to show you two options. So I'm going to try it with a 6 pixel stroke line. And I prefer to use black or a medium gray so that it shows up nice. So you can see that little line that comes up around that white border that we had added. And then I'm also going to show you a slightly thinner version, which is my preference, my personal preference. So I'm going to use a 2 pixel black stroke line. And you can see how faint it is, but it's still there. And it really does help when we're cutting out our pictures afterwards from quite a large roll of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 pixel stroke line around all 4 of my images. Okay. So we're doing this. So once we've done a stroke line for each one of our images, we're going to select them all by using the Shift key on our keyboard, and then right-clicking using the Control button on our keyboard to choose Flatten Image. Okay, so this becomes one solid file that you can send to us, and we're going to save it on our computer, and we're going to save it to the location we can find it at. And we're going to name it with our first and our last name. In this case, I am pretending to be Jimmy McGillicuddy. And Jimmy McGillicuddy is going to include the size of canvas that we've created for printing, which in this case is 44 by 36 inches. And it's always great to include the type of paper that you are hoping to print on. Okay, so we're going to save it as a TIFF. So we've now created a flattened TIFF. We can see we've saved it as the Adobe 1998 color profile, so we're good to go to save. We don't want to have any image compression, so make sure that None button is clicked on, and you can press OK. So once this file is saved and it's ready to go, you can send that our way via our website, and we'll get this printed.